Did Ryan Reynolds really use Deadpool and Wolverine as an opportunity to epically troll Justin Baldoni? Also, a new leaked email alleges that Blake Lively demanded a producer credit or else. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore. So glad to be back in studio. Happy 2025 to everybody. As we reported on this lawsuit from Justin, they did it on a holiday and I was out with my family. I'm finally back in studio and I want to go through this lawsuit in more depth because there is a lot of text in here that only make me have more questions towards Blake Lively. Now look, some of you are mad that I'm not immediately team Justin. I'm team nobody on this because I'm team truth. And I really do think there's some truth that's more in the middle of this. I think both Blake and Justin are hiding something, but I'll be honest, now in actually reading the full suit, which was a long one, which we'll go through tomorrow during our live, Justin's got some good counterpoints that Blake needs to address. And one of them is this leaked email, which we'll get to in a second. But first, I want to address this other theory that's out there that Ryan was so petty enough after all this to create a whole character in Deadpool and Wolverine as a way of trolling Justin Baldoni. If you guys saw the movie, there's a character, his name in it is Nice Pool. Here's the clip in question that many are attributing as a trolling of Justin.
But in here, everybody calls me Nice Pool. Oh my goodness, wait till you see Lady Pool. She is gorgeous.
Lady Pool was played by Blake Lively.
She just had a baby too and can't even tell. I don't think you're supposed to say that. That's okay. I identify as a feminist. Right.
There it is. That's the theory, that he was man buns and all, that this was all a knock on Justin. Now, Justin infamously had a man bun. In fact, he cut it off for charity, guys. But there he is. There's a lot of images you can see of old Justin, which I gotta be honest, do look a little bit like man bun, Nice Pool. And the whole identify as a feminist, clearly Ryan trying to mock him and say that it's nonsense. And I don't know what to believe anymore. I don't know Justin at all, but I will say, man, this is a massively huge level of pettiness from Ryan. Now, again, if everything they're saying happened against Justin, I can understand why Ryan is upset. But feels like a weird thing to joke about if it was as serious as Blake claims. Really, to just like mock this like fake feminist in your movie as the nice guy in the film. It's all just giving me a headache as to really, was this really good for the movie? Because honestly, I wasn't a huge fan of the Nice Pool character. I thought this whole character was a weird, it's a bad part, not as funny part of the movie. And to think that Ryan, who I'm a huge fan of, was a huge fan of. Look, this whole issue, Colonel Kurtz said it really well. I haven't seen unforced errors like this since, well, Amber. However, the situation resolves. It's astounding how Blake Lively has committed huge strategic, unforced errors and turned a season of bad social media that had already resolved with the giant success of the movie, Facts, into potentially years of terrible public sentiment and online division. She no doubt thought she was dealing a death blow to Justin, but suddenly things aren't looking as smug. This is where the problem arises. This story was over. People were moving on. I think even people would have forgotten and moved on and said, oh, she was bad in those junkets and she could have fixed it in the next round of press. But now this lawsuit, these text messages, everything that they're doing, the theories, the idea that Ryan was behind it and then put him in the movie, it was that bad. This has made what was just a stupid, I think, disagreement, some maybe uncomfortable moments on set into something far worse. Because look, I'm not here as Team Justin, but I'm also not on Team Blake, where I feel like there's a lot behind the scenes that's starting to come to light. And one of those is this leaked email. I want to go there next because there's always been this theory that was put out there, I think partly by Justin's team smartly, but also because it was real. We're seeing a lot of these text messages between Justin and his editors that Blake stole the movie from him, that Sony allowed her to have final cut of his movie. This is a movie he got the rights to, a movie he directed, a movie that texts from him to Blake show that he's very collaborative and wants her to share her thoughts and feedback. And he was pushed out of the edit bay, like literally could not see her cut before the premiere of the movie, was also not really allowed to go to the premiere of his own movie because all of the cast said they're not going to be there with him, which to me, again, I think was because Blake made that happen and Blake started spreading this negativity about him throughout. That's what it seems like to me. And this now email that's been released in response to a glowing email they wrote about Blake to include her as a producer on the film. There's now a dated email from June of last year. So this was an older email, basically setting the tone because they knew we got to explain ourselves and we can't keep pretending like this isn't an issue. Here's James, one of the producers of the film, saying, "Hey everybody, I'm writing you all regarding a letter that I wrote on behalf of Justin and myself addressed to the Producers Guild. As you know, we received a request to write a recommendation on behalf of Blake for her to receive the PGA mark, get a producer credit on the film. This was a request that we feel was unreasonable and cold-hearted. Essentially, the movie, It Ends With Us, had been taken unjustly from Justin as a director and essentially from Wayfair's control due to the extortion of Blake Lively. Without going into all the details of the events that have transpired over the months, Justin and I ended up agreeing to write the letter due to feeling trapped. She continues to hold a threat over our heads, and every time we try and hold a line, she uses that threat, either directly or indirectly, to get us to fold. Make no mistake, I am not suggesting that we were literally forced to acquiesce, but given the high profile of the movie, the partnership with Sony, the amount of money invested, and the need to complete the movie, we have written the letter on her behalf, omitting the truth of how and why she was able to contribute in the ways we listed. There is nothing to do with this letter now. It only serves as a way to memorialize why the letter was sent in the first place, should we ever need to explain it." So basically, she's using a threat indirectly, and holding it over their heads. Now, is that like, it sounds to me like, give it to me or else. Give it to me or else I'm going to go make those allegations. Give it to me or else, or you're never going to see your film again. Give it to me or I'm not going to promote this movie. I mean, either way, this sounds like this was forced on them. You better give it to me or else. And seeing some of the text messages, which again, we'll go through during the live, it is shocking how they were able to sort of just take control from this film. In fact, I don't want to tease it too much. These text messages they are showing was supposed to be I'm uninvited. These texts, I don't think that's the actual one. There's so many of them. But as we go through these text messages, I talked earlier, agree we just couldn't be in the same room with Blake because of the premiere, because of all these issues. It would be hard for me to sit and watch the final film for the first time at the premiere, just to cheer when we see our names come up. Yeah, I haven't seen it either. Crazy times. So neither Justin and Blue, or the editors who are in the film were able to see or get access to the film before it was released. Blake stole the movie from him. That this is now coming out through the text and through the lawsuit. Now, it doesn't mean that Justin didn't do bad things himself or uncomfortable things. I don't know. I'm still really torn on all this. But I will say, as I've now gone through all of the evidence that Justin's provided, it leaves me with a lot of questions. A lot of questions such as Blake Lively not wanting to meet with the intimacy coordinator that Justin set up for her. I'm good. I don't need it. There's a bunch of stuff about her blocking these scenes with him earlier. So much of what Justin's texts are revealing absolutely start to crack the narrative that Blake Lively has put out, at least her team has put out, to try to save face. And I got to say, it makes Blake, in my opinion, look 10 times worse. I didn't really have much of an opinion on Justin Baldoni. I don't know the guy, never heard of the guy before. Didn't really care. And honestly, probably would have forgotten and moved on. He could have made his movies. And it looked like we were all just moving on. Blake got caught in a lot of her own bad press because of her own actions. And the fact that she's now trying to Jedi mind trick and gaslight us all into thinking, no, this was all done by Justin. It's not true. There's more text, as we'll go through this tomorrow, make sure you subscribe, showing that they had nothing to do with it. How now they're getting death threats. They provided a lot of evidence here that shows we don't want, oh my gosh, this stuff's crazy. It's gotten a little out of hand. I want to make sure no one thinks that we did this. It's pretty shocking. It's crazy. She doesn't have a good reputation. All this organic stuff from real people making TikToks. It's not bots. We had nothing to do with this. This is from his marketing team. And honestly, I believe it because I was in it. I was in it during that moment and I saw it because we were reporting on it. And I was reporting on it because it was so clear how much of a mean girl Blake Lively seemingly was. Now, I think there were multiple ways she could have solved it, but she refused to believe. And it seems like she refused because she thought Kirsty, the junket person, was working for Justin. And I just don't believe that's true at all. Kirsty's been out there so aggressively fighting for her integrity. And I just don't believe she's lying to us all. Really good write-up, and I think it was Variety or Hollywood Reporter anyway, that was defending her. The fact that the New York Times wrote that piece attempting to imply that Kirsty was involved is shameful on them. Absolutely shameful. This whole thing has just turned into a mess. And I agree with Colonel Kurtz here, who's just the statement, it couldn't be more factual. Blake Lively has now just made this so much worse for herself. It's now going to make people who maybe weren't that into it or don't care start to really care and really get more aggressive in their hatred of her, which I don't want to get involved in. That's not what we're trying to do. People will say, oh, Andy, you're hating. I've seen it. Andy, you're hating on women. No, I'm not Team Blake. I'm not Team Justin. I'm Team Truth. And I got to be honest, now that I get more and more evidence, my opinion does shift a bit because I see, okay, well, wow, this looks bad. I will say, though, just to be fair on both sides, to see Justin's own publicity team privately in other texts say that he's lucky and that he's not the greatest guy, that doesn't help Justin's case either. So there's going to be a lot for both sides to clarify here. But just because Justin may be a jerk or may have done a couple stupid things doesn't mean that Blake Lively isn't still also a mean girl and a bully who abused her own power to take control of this film. Two things can be true at the same time. And so all of this, again, is just really weird to think, why would you make fun of him like that if it's such a serious charge? To create a whole character to make fun of his man bun, that's such a little petty, dumb thing that just makes me disappointed in Ryan Reynolds. And now, like, someone who I love and look up to and admire is getting pulled into this in the worst of ways. And it's because, look, neither of them are being that honest. This should have all just gone away, but Hollywood doesn't work that way. They all got to pay their lawyers and PR to now whip it up into even more of a frenzy to try to get save face. And I'm just disgusted by it all. But I'm also fascinated, and that's why we're going to continue to report it, and we need to, because this is such an open door that we don't usually get into the behind the scenes backstabbing and craziness that is Hollywood. And the most powerful celebrities aren't always as squeaky clean as you think. And we don't usually get an opportunity to see such things. And now that Justin's stuff's all out there, I could see him saying, you know what, let's go all the way. Let's go to Discovery, forcing Blake to have to put stuff out there that I don't think she's going to want to put out there. So stay tuned. There's a lot more to cover regarding this case and more, and we'll go through the full suit tomorrow. So join us live. Hit that bell for alerts so you get those alerts. Smash the like button and leave your comments down below. Appreciate you guys so much. We got a lot more coming for you here on Popcorn Planet.